Home nothing. I'd like to try this thing just once. Come on, honey.
We'll show him a thing or three.
No one will agree completely with my ranking. All opinions are valid. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It would be great if, in the comments, you post your ranking 1 to 10, 1 being the best, and I will compile the viewers' choices. The criteria is based on the overall movie. You can find supporting videos of different levels of detail in the complete Fred and Ginger playlist. A link is at the end of this video. In the third movie, Roberta, starring Irene Dunne, Fred and Ginger had second and third billing, and once again, like they did in Flying Down to Rio, they stole the show. This was the forgotten Fred and Ginger movie, because when their movies started appearing on television, Roberta was left out, not really seen for almost 40 years. In its time, though, it was a very popular movie, 10th highest revenue of the year. Even though their previous movie, The Gay Divorcee, was nominated for Oscar Best Picture and won the first Best Song, this gave them their first big-time exposure. I believe there are 4 factors that affect a movie's standing when it's released, and over time. The most important is, of course, the movie itself. That includes how it is promoted, and little RKO did not have the muscle, the advertising budget and distribution network of the big studios, so to succeed, they had to have something really special. This makes the incredible success of Top Hat all the more amazing. The next most important factor is the performer's last movie. If you loved them last time, you are eager to see their next movie, and I truly believe their great performance in Roberta helped launch Top Hat to success. In Roberta, Fred and Ginger were alternately hilarious, entertaining in their songs and dances, and warm, charming characters. Dunne was great in a script that did not give her that much, and Scott is so likable in his role, but it was Fred and Ginger that sparkled, so much so they were given the closing scene in the movie. The public wanted more. Word of mouth is next, and the public raved about their performance. Finally, over time a movie has to be seen to be recognized, to reach the level of all-time great movies. Roberta never got the chance. It's still great. They introduced 2 new aspects of this oh-so-talented team. Fred plays I Won't Dance on what he calls his filthy piano, and it is great. Ginger had come up through vaudeville and Broadway as a singer-comedian. In the play, her role had been performed by the Polish actress Lida Roberti, and Ginger, always great at mimicry, copies that accent as a girl from Indiana posing as Polish royalty in her stage act, to hilarious effect. Roberta was produced by Pandro S. Berman, directed by William A. Sider, songs by Jerome Kern, Dorothy Fields, and Jimmy McHugh, starring Irene Dunne, co-starring Randolph Scott, Helen Wesley, Claire Dodd, Victor Varconi, and Candy Candido. Fred and his band from Indiana travel to Paris to perform in a club, and are fired right there on the dock. Fred's good friend Scott has come along, and he takes the band to his aunt, the famous fashion designer Roberta. Scott meets Dunne, and sparks fly between them immediately. Ginger enters the scene as a customer of Roberta's, and one nasty bitch. She is viciously berating Dunne, so Scott comes to Dunne's rescue and sends Ginger hilariously flying through the air twice. Ginger likes this big, strong, handsome man and starts flirting with him. Roberta realizes Ginger can get Fred's band work, so Scott tells them in the courtyard below to audition right there, and they do a comedic song and dance to Let's Begin. Ginger comes out on the balcony to see the band, and when Fred and Ginger's eyes meet, they are both startled. When Fred gets upstairs, he realizes Ginger is playing some kind of game and plays along, but also ribs her hilariously. Alone, they know each other. Ginger explains you need a title to croon in Paris. She promises to get Fred work if he will just keep her secret. Dunne sings Roberta to sleep. For me, at first, her soprano voice was a little startling. Nobody sings soprano anymore. Give it a chance. Some of her songs are quite beautiful, though they started off with the least of them in Russian Lullaby. Now comes the first of 2 3-part scenes where they stole the show. Ginger is hilarious with her nasty Polish countess act, singing I'll Be Hard to Handle, at times acting furious as she sings. Then we get to find out they grew up together in Indiana and have loved each other since then. Fred is charming in this scene, where Ginger alternates between sweet and feisty. They do one of the greatest fun dances to the song. Some have said in one or the first take, and the spontaneity shines through. You can hear them laughing and giggling as they dance. Dunne sings Roberta to sleep again with the lovely Yesterdays. Sweet Roberta passes away. Scott inherits the business, but does not want it, does not have the skills to run it anyway. Fred and Ginger have some fun at his expense, a cute scene. Dunne and Scott have a bit of a squabble, but then Dunne is so crazy about Scott they end up being partners. Ginger takes way too much pleasure in torturing Fred, declaring, tall, handsome gentlemen with large bank accounts will be asking for my telephone number, and getting it. Scott finally asks Dunne for a date. Then Scott's ex-girl appears from overseas, and Dunne is devastated. The horrible, snooty ex is played perfectly by Claire Dodd. Dodd is shopping for a dress and treats Dunne terribly, so Fred, in a really charming scene, comes to Dunne's defense. Opening night for Fred's band, and he is relishing the trap he has set for Dodd. He talked her into wearing a dress Scott declared vulgar. Dunne tried to stop it, but Dodd antagonized her till she went along. Scott blows up about the dress and breaks up with Dodd. The second 3-part section for Fred and Ginger starts with Fred displaying his incredible piano-playing skills with I Won't Dance. In a hilarious scene, Ginger dances back and forth in front of the band, wanting Fred to dance with her, and they sing I Won't Dance. Fred has had enough of her routine. Ginger smirks when Fred sings how she affects him, and pouts when he sings he will not dance with her. I love Fred's line, for heaven rest us, I'm not asbestos. Ginger smirks in the background when her 2 Russian giants carry Fred out onto the dance floor, and he does an amazing tap dance to the song. Scott gets drunk. Dunne comes in with Marconi to great fanfare, and Scott thinks she's on a date with the prince. At a Russian gathering for the princess, Dunne sings the first part of the beautiful Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Scott confronts Dunne for selling Dodd the dress, and things get nasty. Dunne resumes the song as Scott walks out of the event, and shows why she was nominated for Best Actress 5 times, with a touching performance, a tear in her eye, and a cry in her voice. Dunne has left Roberta's, but visits to chastise Scott about the mess he is making. Instead, she finds out Scott has left the company in Fred's oh-so-capable hands. Fred and a much better behaved Ginger team up to get Dunne to come back, with Ginger saying, "What a pity, the famous Roberta's to go second rate." It works. They put on a musical fashion show, too long of a scene, but it does have Lucille Ball's first appearance on the screen. Dunne sings the beautiful Oscar-nominated best song, Lovely to Look At, nicely combined with the plot as Scott appears, and they share a warm smile. Ginger finally gets what she's been begging for, a chance to dance with Fred. First they sing a section of Lovely to Look At, and then do a beautiful ballroom dance to Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Fred's plan worked. Ginger says, "I guess I have to give in to you," accepting his previous marriage proposals. Dunne and Scott are also reunited, and they all lived happily ever after, as Fred and Ginger do one of their most rollicking fun dances to I Won't Dance to end the movie. Please like and subscribe.